Hello, everyone, and welcome to a long-awaited edition of the One More podcast. It's been 3 weeks since we did the last one, but here we are again. This is Vibrating Sheep.
Tassa, bro.
Yes, this is Tacit Bro, and this is Face Koopa.
That's what I lost it before.
Okay, and we have two guests today. James Shea from SoCal.
That's me, James Shea.
And,
I am from SoCal.
There we go. And we have East Coast's finest, Lord Knight.
Hi.
Amazing.
Hello.
All right,
Stylish.
Tom, take it away.
All right, so what we wanted first was some quick introductions from James Shea and Lord Knight. I'm sure most of the people who are active in the Persona community or were active in the BlazBlue community know James Shea. He's one of the most active community members. But I do want to hear from you directly, James, about how you got started and why you support these games so hard.
Well, I just like playing, and in the past for SoCal, if there wasn't somebody to, do stuff, like nothing would ever get done, kind of thing. Like as soon as Tom Arlieth disappeared from Melty, Melty was dead. So seeing that, I was a Melty player when I started. BlazBlue was a game that I really liked at the time. And I was like, I got to get everyone into this. So I did what I could. So I started running tournaments pretty much at AI and stuff. And that's pretty much how I just started doing the whole community stuff. And then it just spiraled into what it is now pretty much. I still play, still do community stuff. But I think that even though a scene needs players, that's the number one thing. But some players are too lazy to show up to things that don't exist, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much what drives me to do what I do.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Lord Knight, can you explain a little bit about how you got started in your scene and how you helped keep it going?
Well, I was originally a Smash player from a while back, and one of my high school friends had Guilty Gear XX and Melty Blood on his tablet, and I was like, oh, I hate this Melty game, let's play Guilty Gear all the time. But eventually the net play for Melty got so good, and I went somewhere where it was hard to find competition for Smash, so I started to play Melty Blood and get involved in events for that. And when BlazBlue came out, since there was an arcade in my city, I decided to go to the arcade and play the game. So when it came out for console, in CT, I wasn't really involved in helping run events, but after CS1, we started having the TSB stuff. So now that's where everyone gathers in the tri-state. Everyone comes up to New York once a month to play in the Team Stick Bug event. And of course we have Biggie always helping us.
All right, cool. So let's see here. The first question that we're going to start with today was brought to us by Facebook. And this is actually a really involved question, so I'm going to try and simplify it a little bit. And people wanted to ask what our personal tier lists are and why we rank characters there. So actually, I'm just going to, since tier lists are always, a very sensitive subject, I just do want to keep it at who do you consider to be the top, let's say 3, and then the bottom 1. Does that sound good to you guys?
Sure.
Yeah.
We could all just do the MM Cafe thing, but yeah, that's all good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we could. We might do that afterward. But so let's start with actually James. Who do you consider the top 3, and who do you consider the bottom 1, and why?
Top 3 for me is probably Mitsuru Aigus Chie. And bottom 1, most likely Kanji. And part of it is what I consider to be a strong character is generally their dominance in not only one chance situations, but situations where you may not have the most resources, but you can make a comeback based on getting a lot of different kinds of openings or hits. So I do feel that the 3 characters I mentioned on top are the best at doing this. So for example, Aigus, for example, she does need, she has gauges that she needs to control, but her meterless damage and overall meter build are both pretty good. So you could be down with empty meter, but if you get one opening, you'll get 25 meter. And if you can build the time, you can get up to the 25 to actually do good damage with Orgia. So you can make you can stage pretty big comebacks like that. And a lot of the times for some Aegis matchups where it's hard to get in, you actually spend most of the time losing a neutral, and then you get 2 hits and you win. Mitsuru is, it's the very stable character by a lot of means. Even though you could be losing, you get one counter hit air throw, and that's pretty much it. Or you bait a single DP. Also, her overall pressure, when she gets a hit or she forces you to block, she oftentimes forces those same situations where you're well, I have to actually play respectful in defense, or the round could be over pretty much instantly. Similarly with Chie is she has really strong Okuzeme. So while her burst damage is really her sudden huge influx of damage is really high. So you can go from maybe 60% health to losing from a fatal counter or a regular counter hit for a bad DP. And the one chance you get from starting the Okuzeme is really strong. And on some characters it's not as useful, like Teddy or mostly Teddy, but overall she doesn't really lose to any member of the cast, really. And as far as Kanji is concerned, Kanji is probably has the hardest time winning stably. He mostly wins at one chance situations, and that's pretty much his main weakness. He can, in this game though, of course, any character can win, and they oftentimes in normal game flow one chance situations happen. So I would say that it's mostly at mid-high level where tiers matters the most, where players start playing really stable, and the characters that are the most stable are the best. But as soon as you reach that high point where stability is not necessarily a primary factor of how well you do in tournament because everyone is super stable, that's where you see a lot of those amazing players who play weaker characters often do really, really well as well. So that's my general assessment.
Cool. Thanks, James. Lord Knight, what about you? What do you think about top 3 and then bottom 1?
I'm going to say that top 3 is Aegis, and then Mitsuru, and Yu. And the bottom character, that's probably either Kanji or Labris, I think. One of those two. I can't really assign one person as a worst character because of how I feel about the cast overall. Because to me, besides those top 3, really I have a top 6, and then everyone under that is the same in my mind. But for me, I think Aegis is the most powerful character, but she's not but Mitsuru is the most stable, but Mitsuru has her problems. I think she really struggles against Yosuke and Chie and Aegis, but like James said, as long as if you get a counter hit air throw, it might be over. She can make things happen, especially at high level play when someone really understands the character. Mitsuru is just really scary, between her pressure and how she can create opportunities for damage. Yu, since Yu wasn't really talked about, Yu despite say his mid-screen confirm into sweep, that might not do a lot of damage, but just him knocking you down into sweep creates such a terrible situation for the other player where you just repeat the same situation over and over. And he's also really good at using resources to convert hits into damage and knock down into the corner. And I mean, Chie, when she knocks you down, it's she can get into the same situation over and over and over, but I don't feel she has that same ability like you to move you to the corner as much, unless she wants to sacrifice the Okuzeme. And as far as how I feel about the weaker characters, between Kanji and Labris, at higher levels of play where Kanji just struggles with certain matchups, and Labris I feel is, because of the way she's just designed as a character, I think she has a lot of problems. Even though she can make stuff happen, she needs to, similar to Kanji, she needs to say, get that one chance opportunity, and it's kind of hard for her because of like the tools she has, and her defensive tools are not so good. Like her DP, between her having slow normals, like slow A's, and then her DP being the way it is, it's pretty hard for her to escape pressure. And a lot of characters' pressure is really, really strong. Like, just say like Mitsu just doing AA over and over. She can't really do anything to that besides maybe like gold burst or try to backdash. So, and it's kind of rough for her.
I see. All right, Dasabro, what about you?
I don't think I have too much to add. Both of those explanations were really good. I would probably mostly agree with James' tier list pretty much word for word. I would say Mitsuru's at the top, closely followed by Aegis. And after that, it's kind of a toss-up between like Teddy, Che, Narukami, Akihiko. I'm not entirely sure who earns the next spot, but all those characters are really close. I think the uniform things about these characters is their risk reward is really good. They all have a good anti-air, except for Che. Che kind of doesn't have one, but that's kind of more the exception than the norm. Usually these characters have really good fundamental options, and they do really well with meter or a good counter hit. I think at the bottom I would also put Kanji down there. He's just too unstable against the best characters. That's about it for me.
Cool. Koopa?
I mostly agree with James on the tier list. I feel that if there's anyone who's going to possibly move up in the tier list, it would mostly be on a glitch of some sort, aka like SMP loop or something. I feel that characters who have a very stable tool set use them really well to force an advantage or gain, well, use low risk to gain high reward, such as Mitsuru, or maybe I would put 3 as you. I'm still thinking about that one, but there's a topic later on, and I want to talk about it later, where we'll see that later. For bottom, it's either Kanji or Labris, and it's the same that we all talked about, but I don't have much to add to this conversation, so I'll skip it now.
Okay. And me being the least serious player here, my tier list is going to be based entirely on that character's background music.
What?
Which means that the top tier is going to be Elizabeth. It's Elizabeth, it's Akihiko, and it's Aegis, in that order.
You didn't put Aegis first, you messed up.
No. Akihiko's definitely above Aegis's. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
You're pushing it. That's pushing
how do you put mirror matches on this tier list?
Mirror matches are... No, but anyway, moving on to serious topics. There was a question that was also raised. Why is Kuma / Teddy considered so powerful in Japan and considered so powerful here, but why do we have so few Teddy players? What makes him so effective, and what makes him so unlikable here in America?
Because he has fur.
I'd like to hear from Dasabro first on this one, actually.
I think all the people that ended up picking Teddy in America are just kind of either not that serious or a little bit too lazy. He's got really strong options. He has ways out of single-player mode knockdowns. He's just like universally very stable. So it's kind of surprising to me that no Teddy is doing very well. And I think in a lot of ways,
Dave.
Oh yeah, Breaker Dave. That's true.
But he would still be coming to the run back if it literally wasn't on Thursday, actually, because his schedule, he just works Thursday nights pretty much, so he just can't come anymore.
Okay, maybe we could get an
he'll come up the
exhibition of him
weekends,
sometime.
yeah.
That'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think a lot of the same could be said for Naoto, because I feel like Naoto is actually a character that could grow a lot. So I think a lot of the things I just said about Teddy apply to her too.
All right. Actually, yeah. So, James, can you talk a little bit more about Breaker Dave and what makes him strong and yet unique?
In general, Teddy is like a character where you don't have any real a lot of your game plan is really reactionary, and you react to and you make plans around the items pretty much. So then because from a gameplay perspective, you kind of just have in neutral, all you have is your bat and jump A. That's it. but then you find time to make items, and then both you and your opponent start to play this like evolving neutral game, pretty much. So because of that, I think a lot of players are not really ready to really just play that kind of play style where you're not sure about you're not really sure what you're supposed to do. Because a lot of players I'll see they're just like run and jump A, IID jump A, or random bear screw sometimes. But it's mostly you have to develop the game state on the fly when you're playing Teddy. And I think that a lot of low and low mid level players often will struggle with that because a lot of fighting game characters are really designed in a way that like, oh, well, use this to get in, use this to anti-air, use this to like force neutral situations. So I do feel that like Teddy, though, while he is very good at developing the neutral game and forcing your opponent to play it, a lot of the time players are not really ready to play that kind of play style. As for Breaker Dave himself, he definitely has a I'll do whatever I want play style. He complains about a lot of really dumb things, but it's because of the way you play Teddy. You generally like develop the game state as you play it. A lot of times, players who produce a lot of static when they play makes it difficult for you to fight them. Which means that, like for example, there are some certain things that are like, well, I wish I could DP on Wake Up, because when you DP with Teddy, like it's kind of like, well, you had to have either reacted or you just guessed right, or there's literally a thing that you can beat 100% of the time. Because a lot of the times when you're playing against players and they don't just like straight media all the time, they don't strictly do certain things all the time, it becomes really difficult to fight them on defense. And his A's are relatively slow, so he generally he starts having to have like a little bit of problem where you'll have to be forced to backdash or like take a risky mash out instead of trying to DP, because it gets kind of scary against certain kinds of characters. Like for example, Mitsuru, when you knock Teddy down, unless you're putting like Bufula on him or something, he is generally in the same situation where he's like, well, I need to play the same like DP, don't DP, jump, don't jump gameplay, regardless of whether or not I DP on Wake Up. So that can be really scary for some Teddy players, even though I would say that Teddy is not very bad against Mitsuru. But just in that idea, because of how you have to pay attention and have to have like a plan around what item you had or previously had, a lot of players do struggle with playing Teddy and picking him up. But in general, I think that oh yeah, also another thing is that he's very corner spacing specific actually. So players who don't have a good grasp of spending their meter to make it to the corner to finish like a good damage combo, pretty much. Like you can combo like mid screen into Tomahawk, and you get all that corner carry, and oftentimes you make it to the corner and you could do a good combo of it. Knowing like situation confirming like that, not every player is really ready for it, and the amount of stuff you lose from not getting that confirm is actually really big for Teddy, because he doesn't really get a huge amount of damage mid screen at all. He has to really force the corner game.
It's okay if I extend this question a little bit further?
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
Shay, I remember at one point you were saying like the best Teddy player in Japan pretty much forced Teddy into a quote-unquote top 3. Who was that player, and can you tell me a little more about him?
Soji, yes. So there's a lot of good Kuma players actually, and Soji is the most famous one, obviously. In general, like Kuma's like Teddy's ability to force the neutral game is something that people didn't really think about for a really long time. But for example, let's take the Mitsuru matchup, which is probably the most difficult it's the matchup to beat a lot of times in tournament play. Because if you can't beat Mitsuru, you probably can't win tournaments. But how it is that Teddy is actually really bad mid-screen, like mid-range against Mitsuru. He's actually not very good against her, and her anti-air is really strong. So he has to like be really tricky with like air turn or like air dash into like back or like jump into backdash kind of stuff to like really bait it out. But actually, what players started to do was actually just like strictly turtle as hard as possible, which is where you essentially stay full screen to where a coup draw doesn't hit, and like 5D becomes like 5D is actually not super strong either because of television either. So you've pretty much like jump, force the D attack or to whiff or start charging random coup draw, and you start like throwing items basically. So then once you get the dry ice, like once you get certain items out, they actually turn off certain parts of Mitsuru's gameplay. And then that's how you can force the neutral game in your favor, basically. So for example, like the really common item is dry ice, which is the third item. And as soon as you get dry ice, it pretty much turns off coup draw from a lot of different ranges, because once dry ice is on the floor, she can't like charge past it. She'll just get hit by the ice, pretty much.
Okay.
And then once dry ice is out, you can actually use that time to be like, well, is he going to try to air dash at me or something to get over the dry ice? If that's the case, then I'll anti-air him, because Teddy's anti-air is also quite good. Or will he try to like continue to poke from far range, which is like 5D, jump D, etc., or will he or will he just like stay there pretty much? And then like based on how you're forcing the neutral game, you'll start either throwing more items until you get like the uber item, which is like barrel, which is like you have to block this or jump kind of thing, or like bucket basically. So you continually change the game state by either forcing the lane game to force like items out basically, and then by doing that you can actually some matchups start to become a lot better or worse. Does that make sense?
It does.
In general,
Makes a lot of sense to me.
So let's go back to Soji. Soji started doing like a lot of these things, and he started coming up with like setups that would force really specific outcomes. For example, like once you got the barrel or whatever, it's only a couple more items until you get the red robo. So what he would end up doing usually is like after the barrel gets hit or like he gets the hit or block on the barrel, he would oftentimes suddenly start playing lame for no reason. And if he's like near awaken, he could actually do like the red rocket unblockable, which is where like at a far spacing from the screen, the red rocket bounces off of the corner. So then after you block, like once you're about to block the first hit of the red rocket, he'll do the Teddy Circus super. You'll block both hits of it, and then it's guaranteed unblockable pretty much. So they have to do something really crazy just to avoid that. And then because he started like forcing these really strong situations, it started becoming a lot stronger. Also, like every character started to get like a Mitsuru-like mix-up, where you like run really close to them and then punish their throw with basically. And Teddy has a really specific one where he does dash into you and then backstep, and then oftentimes if you whiff the throw there, it's a full punish, and it makes his throw game almost as strong as Mitsuru's, especially in the corner. It's not like 4B fatal into like you win the round or anything, but in the corner, oftentimes you get that because his throw damage is also as good as Mitsuru's. So because like you can force that like throw Yomi game with the backstep, it's really scary. He doesn't have as many options. Like he doesn't have like rising jump C or like 4B like Mitsuru does, but just having one that's relatively strong and also does beat some other DPs like the counter DPs and things like that, he can get really scary on his throw game. So like people started doing stuff like that, and it made his like offense a lot stronger despite just being like hit throw. It's actually really complicated once you get to like, well, you can do like the dash ins like closely like walk up into backstep kind of thing. So his offense really started to develop there.
All right, cool. Anybody have anything to add, or should we just move on?
I actually do want to add to that because I actually like got to play Soji like at the beginning of the month, and I feel like Teddy's throw game is way better than Mitsuru's. Like, especially depending on what item he has. Like she had just said, like Teddy doesn't have anything like Mitsuru's Rising Jump C. Actually he could do Rising Jump B, and what did he do? He did like Rising Jump B, and there's a like on block it hits you crouching, or standing, and if you whiff your throw, you get a counter hit where like they go flying forward. So in the corner, that's pretty strong. And then depending on what item that Teddy has, throw like gets really strong. Like say meteors, like the last item, like Soji when I played him, he would stand like right in my face right before meteors started, and then he would just backdash if I did throw while I got hit by meteors, and then he would do another mix up right away, like cross up all out attack or something, some shenanigans. On top of that, he has certain strings where certain strings are very safe. I should correct that. Certain strings are not so safe, but he could scare you enough to make them safe. There's another not so famous Teddy called P4U player, and he also has above 800 PSR, and Teddy's say 5AAA is not like you can just DP in between it, but if you respect his 5AA for some reason and he gets you to block the third 5A, if he has meter, he can cancel into was it C or D Tomahawk? C Tomahawk, and there's no gap in between that, and he could force a cross up with the follow-up explosion. Like, Teddy has a lot of shenanigans like that he can convert like a ridiculous situation into high damage, which makes him very scary. I just don't feel... Well, we have a couple of Teddies over here. We have Nerd Josh and Biscuits, and they just haven't gotten... They just don't have the full knowledge of the character yet, and Japan has just had, like, since March to get used to Teddy and start developing their game plans with him.
Okay. Lord Knight, quick question for you. In your opinion, what pushes Teddy out of top 3 then?
Mostly that he mid-screen, I don't think he is ridiculously strong, really strong. The other characters that are top can create strong Okazeme situations even mid-screen. Mitsuru, of course, off like random hits, can either use all-out attack for an ender, or sweep, or beat Wa into SB, Buffalo, or whatever. Or make force up, and then you has sweep fight. Like, Teddy doesn't get that all the time, and his what he does for Oki depends on what item is coming up next, or what item he has. So, in the mid-screen, he's not scary all the time. In the corner, of course, he's just great. I think he's definitely in the top. Like I said earlier, I think there's top 6 and then everyone else, and I think he's top 6 for sure.
All right, cool. Let's see here. So another question that came up. Oh, there's some squeaking going on. But anyway, so one thing that people have always wanted to know, because of the regional nature of the FGC, who would you take into battle with you in a 5v5 from your region? And would you be willing to, get an event going where you took those 5 people to either neutral ground, or by neutral ground I mean Game Center Arcade in San Mateo, California?
There we go!
Not that I'm plugging it or anything, but Game Center Arcade in San Mateo, California. No, but who would you take to war with you, and why? And do you think that would be an interesting event for Persona to do it sort of Aftershock style or something like that, or Canada Cup style? So let's start with the East Coast, because I know that's seen the least. So let's go with Lord Knight.
Who would I take? I'll take myself, SKD. I can take myself, right? That's okay?
Yeah, no question.
Oh, okay. So myself, SKD. Who else? Omni. Omni wouldn't go though. EC is rough. No one is willing to travel for the most part. So I guess it would be more of a, who do I think top 5 is, or who would be good enough to do something like that.
No. How about this? If you had magical amounts of money to sponsor anyone from East Coast to go to a place,
They still wouldn't go.
are you serious?
No, SKD. Well, I would say myself, SKD, Omni, Nerd Josh, and
Holy-
actually, let me do this again. Myself, SKD,
Okay.
Marlon Pie,
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Tom Berry,
Mhm.
and I guess 5th would be Omni.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
That
cool.
makes sense to me.
Yeah. What about you, Shay?
I don't know. It's kind of scary because most of my team is low tier. But yeah. But it would probably be Ban Naoto, the Biter Kanji, Mikey Yukiko. Yeah, I guess me. I don't know. Maybe somebody
You're
else.
so enthusiastic about that pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it brings the tier of my team up really high. So I don't know. It's probably probably pick all low tier characters.
So
And,
humble.
For the 5th player, it's pretty interesting because I feel like SoCal's like a revolving door of a lot of players are getting better a lot of the time, and we see a lot of different players in the top 8 at the run back every week.
Mhm.
Though top 4 is relatively consistent though. So I mean, 5th probably Breaker Dave. I mean, it can't ever hurt to have a Teddy, and also either maybe that or Oboloni would be not a bad pick over myself or something if I wasn't allowed on the team.
You think
Yeah.
Vi is anywhere close on that list?
I think Vi is really getting a lot better too. But if it was maybe 13 on 13, I would pick Vi. But
Yeah.
I do feel that he doesn't have enough. Well, of course we're all still developing as a scene, but he plays a lot of different games, and I think it actually hampers how much extra time he can put into Persona. Though I think he's already a really good player, but he's like missing a lot of the technology that we are still in the process of catching up with. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, well, on the bright side, it doesn't hurt to have a lot of people to choose from.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, as far as like not picking any Mitsuru players, I think that everyone knows how to play against that character already.
Well, you'd be shocked.
You'd be a little shocked.
Well, I
yeah.
think so too, but yeah, I think almost nobody knows how to play against characters like Naoto and Yukiko, and sometimes even
No one knows how to play against Yukiko. That's like guarantee.
yeah, Yukiko is a difficult matchup if you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. It's time for the three of us to make some enemies in our local area.
Oh God. Okay, so together we're gonna decide this. Yeah, that's fair, right? Okay.
Okay.
I don't think it's
So-
too hard.
So Pain is obvious.
Okay.
Yeah, Pain for sure.
Pain is one. That's definitely there. How
Who do you
about
think?
for me? I would pick 2 GB combo. That's fair, right?
Yep, no question.
Okay. How about you, Dom, for the third person?
Does Pavo count?
He definitely can, yeah.
Okay.
Would you put him on the team? I would personally, but I don't know if you would be willing to be
I think he's a little bit too unstable for my team right now, but he's getting
Okay.
there very quickly.
Yeah, he's getting there really fast. Okay. What about Tenkai?
He could definitely make it.
Yeah,
I'm
I agree
not
with
100% sure. I haven't seen him recently though.
Okay. We have two that we're sure on, and then the rest just getting a little fuzzy.
Okay. How about Dark Talon?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have let's see, we have 3. A Kanji, an Aegis, and a Yu.
And maybe an Akihiko.
Maybe an Akihiko, Tenkai. And that's about you can fit that position as well. Let's see.
Yeah, I think whoever it is between me and Tenkai, the other one should not be on.
Because 2 Akihikos would be awkward.
It'd be weird.
So who's the last
Hey,
person?
they had like 4 Mitsurus on an unlimited circus team.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, but I feel like 4 Mitsurus is a much better
4
choice. than
Mitsurus
four
and Yume
Akihikos.
Aigis.
That's perfect. I like it.
I feel like 4 Mitsurus is way better than 4 Akihikos.
I guess I should put Green Tea on the team somehow. We have 2 Mitsurus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. We should just make it 13 on 13, and then we could watch Dasabro fight out for his position.
Uh-huh. Well, no. If it was a 13 on 13, I'd have to be competing with Dora for the spot and then take it for no reason.
There we go.
Okay. Okay.
Not to say I earned that spot, but I did replace him.
That's true. Man, I didn't even have to replace anyone on my team when I would join that team.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like NorCal's team, there's a lot of competent people. I feel like someone that didn't get mentioned that should have is Apology Man.
Oh, yes.
True.
And there's a few more people that could definitely make the spot. Like we have a pretty active, strong scene here, so we have a lot of different people we could consider.
Let me be the villain here. We have a pretty active and strong team that got bodied by PNW. So
We got bodied by Kaigu. Everyone else is pretty competent.
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
We eliminated all of them and put it down to NorCal versus PNW. That's fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there we go.
Close enough, yeah.
All right. Yeah, but that would be a cool event. Honestly, I would be interested in holding that.
Well, hey, you know, SoCal Regionals is coming up, so if you guys come down to that, we can organize something.
That would actually be pretty
I
hot.
will very likely be there.
Okay.
Because it's in January, so I mean, we have a lot of time to plan.
Mhm.
So I mean, if it does go down, I mean, if you guys are interested, you know, I will put in the word for, hey, we got this hype NorCal SoCal thing going down. So
Very interested.
yeah, because like,
Those,
but yeah, you guys got to bring more people, so we can like have more people.
I can do that for SoCal Regionals. We have plenty of time.
Yeah,
yeah, if
exactly.
we have enough
Because,
time
like,
to plan.
I know a lot of people may be like listening to this later or now, and they'll be like, why didn't I get mentioned? I'm good, you know. And I'm like, yeah, you are good. It's just 5, man.
Qualifiers.
Why not?
Like I actually had this dream of where we would do you play for the position, but instead of like just playing each other or whatever, you'd have to like fight every other person on that team, basically.
That's interesting.
But that would take a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Speaking of which, how are we doing on time? Should we go to the next question?
Let's move on. Let's see here. So this is a question that I brought up. So it's totally not biased that I'm bringing this one up. But with the recent patch, why do you think that certain things like the Yukiko unblockables or some of the IK glitches were removed, but the SMP loop for Naoto was not removed? And I have a personal theory about this. James can either take his NDA and just hide behind it or something like that.
I don't really know anything except for what I know, but
Okay. But my theory is that the SMP loop, since it's been in 2 Arc System Works games already, it's baked into the very engine that the game is based on. And so, they can't really fix that glitch without really going deep into the code and basically rebuilding the game from the ground up in order to remove the SMP loop. And so, it's relatively easy to fix certain glitches that, you can easily say, oh, we forgot to put in this flag or whatever. And so you can remove the glitches like that so that they work right. But in order to remove the Naoto SMP loop, they would also have to try and figure out how to remove the Noel or whoever else had an SMP loop, which would mean rewriting their engine.
Well, it's really hard to say exactly how it works, obviously, because we didn't program the game. None of us did. I'm free to say that, right? But essentially, we don't know exactly how it's programmed, for one. But, for example, there's that theoretical issue where it's like, well, you could actually just mitigate a lot of the damage by making the SMP requirement 20, basically, right? So then that's a theoretical possibility, but maybe there's hardware limitations that force it to be 10, or, for example, like limited RAM or something. But at this point, for P4U, certainly, it is actually really, really baked into the engine, actually. And just recently, people have, really talented researchers, from Japan and Veteru, etc., have actually looked into the data and such. And they've actually discovered how SMP works in Persona. And it's actually somewhat different from BlazBlue. But what it boils down to is the reason that it's so easy for certain characters to get SMP loop going is because literally every move has some kind of SMP on it.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, quite literally. So every normal, every special. Because of that, that's why for Naoto in particular, I think because she has, the way that her character is just structured, because you can get a repeating attack that does a lot of damage by itself, that's the main reason she can really take advantage of it more easily than other characters. That's why it's so prevalent with her playstyle. There are other characters that do have an SMP, but because of the way their combos are structured, it's not as important because they've already either dealt most of the damage they could have done, or it ends up just being impractical to do a lot of damage by adding all those hits. So, for example, Aegis actually does have an SMP combo, but it literally lets you do one more Megiddo at the end of the combo, and it's called the triple Megiddo combo, and it allows you to add the third Megiddo to the combo, and that's pretty much all it does. But I mean, it is an SMP loop in theory and in practice. It's literally just, but the combo theory is just advanced to the point where, well, you get one more move. So, yeah, that's pretty much how. That's my take on it. Is why I didn't take it out. Is players have probably already gotten used to it, and they probably don't really consider it much of a glitch anymore. It's just that combo, pretty much. It started as a glitch, but as people play the game more and more, that's just how the game's played, according to them. And a lot of the times, that's just literally how the game is played. If you play games that have developed really far, for example, there's a lot of esoteric examples like Melee and HNK, Basara. They may have started as glitches, but players more or less consider those to be normal game mechanics at this point in time.
Okay.
So with that spirit in mind, that's probably one of the main reasons they if they could have had a simple solution, they may not have taken it, but who really knows at this point?
Okay. Does anybody have anything to add to this one, or do we think that it's pretty much enough to cover it?
I just want to know, what is the kanji reversal glitch that they said was taken out?
Kanji reversal glitch?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
They said that was one of the things that was taken out. It was the Agidine glitch, some other stuff, and then
you don't
I
think
saw
that has to
kanji
do with-
reversal glitch.
You don't think that has to do with Persona's safe jumping as DP, do you? Because
No,
No,
I don't
that-
think so.
that's
No,
the only
it's,
thing I could even think of.
I think the kanji reversal glitch has to do with like how the hit stop works with the move. I remember glossing over it and being like, oh, that doesn't matter, but I didn't really pay like super a lot of attention. So
Okay, whatever.
yeah, I could actually look it up eventually, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Like, but regardless, there's actually still a lot of glitches in the game anyway. They fixed a lot of them, but in reality, a lot of them are still in the game. And just recently, like, there's a guy who makes all these glitch videos for Persona, and he releases like Nico videos every now and then. And he's like, "Yeah, this patch, it fixed everything," or so I wanted to say, but here's all this other stuff we found.
Oh, hey, and
But
Shay.
none of them are really game breaking. A lot of them are really silly. For example, like I King at the same time or something.
All right.
And like your persona gets broken, but it kills them anyway, and yeah, stuff like that.
Oh, Shay, can you do me a quick favor?
Hmm.
To plug in that guy, could you possibly type him into the chat?
Let me look for it. I don't remember his exact name,
Okay.
so
And also
Okay.
so I can look at it too.
Yeah, I do want to see that. So while James is poking around Nico video, we have a couple of questions for LK as well. So Lord Knight, there are two questions for you. The first one is, you seem to be a really strong player about getting an opponent to mess up on his bursts. Like, how do you recommend that people learn how to bait bursts and punish them?
Bursts. Okay, so there's two things I try to tell people when they ask me about bursts, and the first is do not drop your combo. Do not I guess it's called a hard burst bait. Don't give up your combo to look for a burst. Ever.
Okay.
Ever. I've seen so
Such
many
good advice.
people lose because of that. I've seen SBO top 8 people lose because they give up their combo. It's like bait burst. And B, the other way, of course, is making or trying to find specific combo parts that will bait burst at certain spots that you think people would burst at. So for me to do, that would be something like jump B, one more cancel, jump B, jump C, and then land 1D. And if they burst around jump C, you should land and block, like stuff like that. Lower level players tend to burst the same ways. Of course, Juna has posted a helpful burst chart.
I love that burst part.
Some situations where people like to burst, that chart is very helpful, and I suggest everyone look at it. If you want to burst against someone, on the other hand, you should look for moves that they try not to burst moves with multiple hits while you're getting hit, like Chie 236A.
Akiko Kill Rush.
Kill Rush is another one. All Out Attack is another one because
If they don't have meter, it doesn't matter. But if they do have
Yeah.
meter, you got to take that into account.
Yeah, because you could just one more cancel on reaction. You don't want to burst, say, a move that is jump cancelable that would go into an air normal. So like Akihiko jump B loop or something. You wouldn't want to burst that. You want to burst moves that have kind of long startup. Like, say, Bidwa kind of has a lot of startup, so you can burst right before you get hit by it, and then they can't really do anything.
All right. Do you guys have anything to add about these burst baiting strategies?
No, that's pretty good. The only thing that I could consider adding is try to invent extra burst safe routes, especially if you don't need a big damage combo to kill them. Like with Akihiko, if you had a 5B fatal, you can add a jump after the 5B fatal and then continue the combo as you're landing with a jump B. And it makes the start of that so much more burst safe than normal, because normally you just go 5B into B kill rush and it's completely not burst safe. But if you instead do 5B jump, landing jump B, you get a lot of spots where you'll just automatically beta burst. And if you didn't need the damage to kill anyway, it's completely irrelevant that you're making the damage lower.
Interesting. Okay. And I see that people linked Juno's wonderful guide to Canadian bursts and Californian bursts and Arturo bursts. So
Okay.
you should totally.
Hey,
look
where's
at
the
that.
Lord
Burst?
burst, right? No, I'm just kidding.
There's no Austin burst on there.
Well,
There's
hey,
also there's
need to edit
some
it.
other stuff, but it's okay. You know what? You don't want to get that's 1 2 anyway.
I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the stream so people will know in the future from the archives.
Okay.
Advanced Bursting 101 by Juna. Canadian burst. It's so good. Our two burst.
It's great because this morning there was a Canadian playing on Jaina's stream. He did the Canadian burst. It was so good.
But anyway, the next question to Lord Knight is totally not self-interested. It's what matchups does Mitsuru have trouble with, and it's not even me who's. I don't know who suggested this. Koopa, who suggested this one?
Actually, it was Dacid.
Oh, so it's totally not self-interest on Dacid's part.
Absolutely not.
What is this?
Oh, we want to just figure out. We want him to go deeper into why he thinks characters like Yosuke give Mitsuru trouble.
So Mitsuru's bad matchups for me, in my opinion, are Yosuke, Aigis, and then I think Chie is her worst matchup by far.
Okay.
Could you give us
So,
like a
like-
quick rating of those matchups too, like numbers?
Chie's got to be like 6'4" for Chie. Yosuke is probably like also 6'4", and Aigis is 6'4". But because of like their game plan, I think Chie is the hardest to play.
Okay.
So what Chie and Yosuke have in common are that they're both really fast characters. That if Mitsuru has really long pokes, everyone knows this, but the moment she whiffs a move, you can just slide in or something, and both of those characters are really good point blank, and once they get Mitsuru blocking, her only, I shouldn't say safe, her only option, her main option to get out is either DP, backdash, roll, or jump, or something, right? And of course,
Because her jab is 7+ frames, right?
yeah, her jab is 7 frames. Her 2A is 9 frames. So especially in Yosuke's case, Mitsuru can only do DP for the most part. She can't do anything else if she wants to escape. Everything's too tight. You can't jump. You can't do anything. And in Chia's case, Chia can do 5DB totally safely against Mitsuru because her jab isn't 5 frames, and all you need to do is delay the 5D a little bit, and it gets around the 2B invulnerability glitch. So, or I don't know if it's a glitch. Maybe they did that on purpose. I don't know. And of course, we all know once Chia is in and doing mix-up, then she's really good. On top of that, Chia, specifically Chia, her max damage is pretty comparable with Mitsuru's off more random things. So Mitsuru, say, her jump A is pretty good. That's actually her fastest normal. It's 6 frames. But on counter hit, on rising counter hit, the only way you can convert it into high damage, there's only 2 ways. And one involves a very, very specific spacing and using jump A into jump D, and that only works on counter hit. And the other, of course, you need to use one more burst. If you're falling and you get a JA counter hit, then you get damage. But Chie, if she gets like an air dash jump B counter hit or something, then she can convert that into a full air combo, into knockdown with all out attack, and then into mix up. So she gets to go into her game plan straight away. Unlike Mitsuru, who kind of needs the right situation. So you need really strong neutral to beat Chie, who has room to be a little wild, a little crazy against Mitsuru. And in Yosuke's case, of course, he's almost untouchable. He's impossible to anti-air, and once he's in, it's really hard. And on top of that, Mitsuru in the corner has to go. You either have to go all like really out of your way to bait his Furious action, or you can just ignore it because it only does 500 damage. But either way, it's a really big problem for her because of the way her pressure works. Because against
does Rising JB beat it at least?
It has to be max range, or else she gets caught and then tripped anyway.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So there are ways to beat his BD. But you have to push yourself pretty far out to do it. And she has ways to do that too, but you just have to really go out of your way to beat this one move, on top of him being really hard to hit, and perfectly content with just hitting you a couple of times and then running away just forever because he's so fast. Um, some people might say like her Rising Jump C will beat it, but you have to do Super Jump Rising Jump C, and that only hits him. That will not hit him crouch blocking. That only hits him stand blocking.
Hmm.
So it's if you know that stuff, then he can play it really risky against her, and it's fine. And then of course Aegis 2B pretty much shuts down Mitsuru's entire basic game plan. Like she can't do Dwa, she can't use D, she can't jump in unless she's really close. Jump B will only beat 2B if she's really close. And Aegis does more damage off random hits on average than Mitsuru does, similar to Chie. And once she knocks Mitsuru down, it's really hard for Mitsuru to get out. Chie, at least, if you have meter, you could do Wake Up Bufudyne, but you can't do that to Aegis at all.
Okay. So anyway, let's see here. We're gonna move on to talking to James a little bit more. So James, you've gotten pretty good feedback on your beginner mode YouTube videos for P4A. Do you plan on completing any more of those beginner mode videos?
Yeah, go on.
And the end of this question is how about for other games?
I'm really busy, which is the main reason I haven't been working on it. I had plans to do other videos, but I've just been too busy to actually work on them. And I'm also, organizing tournaments and stuff like that. So from the day-to-day stuff, I just don't have a lot of time to work on it anymore. I really enjoy working on stuff, and I really enjoy like showing off how good I am at video editing, et cetera, feeling myself. But in general, it's really just like I really like showing people stuff and things like that. I don't have enough time because I'm actually not very good at video editing and capturing footage. I waste a lot of time because I can't really get it right on the first try a lot of the time, so I end up having to mash a lot. And then the more I mash, the better it looks in the end. But because of that, like it really just takes me like a ton of time to get stuff done. So for example, the first video I made, which was like around 10 minutes or so, it took me about like maybe 40 hours or something like that. So I think it wasn't all like a lot of it was stuff that I had to do on setup anyway. Like I had to like I had to like make the boxes and stuff. So maybe like the future videos might go a little faster in general, but I just really don't have enough time at the moment. I'm also getting bodied by tendonitis, so I've actually been taking a hiatus from playing a lot of games or doing things like that. So that's the main reason. I definitely do want to do more videos, so perhaps in the future.
Okay. And could you also plug in your YouTube account?
My YouTube account is like my Twitter account. It's YouTube/SharePlus. If you go to my stream page, which is twitch.tv/XIEI, it's actually like you can find links to all of my shit there. And my really special donate button, if you don't know about that one, you should check that one out.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
But it's in general, my YouTube account, my YouTube account's there. I have been trying to find time also to make VODs of the run back, but I also have this really bad audio sync problem with the VODs that I take. So I have to like manually sync all the audio myself every couple seconds. Not every couple seconds, every couple minutes. So it takes me a long time because I have to like watch all the footage and make sure it's all synced up and stuff. So I mean, I think by this week I'll have like 2 weeks ago's tournament ready to upload. So yeah, hopefully I'll get caught up on that.
Cool. The next question is, we heard a rumor on the last podcast that you might be leaving SoCal for Japan, either for work or for general Shienus. Is there any truth to this?
It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. It's not really like penned in until I get like a real job or something out there. But it is something I've been thinking about. I'm at the age where it's like, well, if I get any older, I can't really travel as much as I wanted to anymore. So might as well get it out of the way now. So it's one of those things that I really want to do, regardless of what country I end up going to, actually. If it's Japan too, like I might not even end up in a city. I just want to get out of, the general, like what my comfort zone and do other stuff. So in the end, like even if I move to Japan, I might not even play fighting games anymore because I will live like 2 hours from a city.
Okay.
But it's just something I've been really interested in doing. If I did do that, I would probably be more active on like stuff like net play, making videos, being myself in front of a camera kind of thing. But I mean, even if I do move to Japan, like I'm still really into the scene overall. And I probably wouldn't do. I'd probably be like the opposite of Juno. Like Juno will like come home and stream from like midnight to 4 a.m. or something. I would be like the opposite. I'll like get up at 5 and start streaming or something. And then yeah. So either way, like I do want to like play fighting games still. If I do end up leaving the country, I'm still willing to support America, do what I can. But yeah, there is some truth to it, I would say.
I want to add on to this question if possible. Shay, have you had? How about this? If you leave to Japan, have you taught anyone to take in your footsteps, or?
Oh, so successor, right?
Yeah.
Not really. Like I know that everyone's really lazy, so that might be hard, and everyone has jobs, which is weird. I thought all the anime players were supposed to be like neats with cars.
Okay.
But let's see. I think in the end, there are some people who are driven and they want to help the scene as much as they can, but they can't free up the time for it yet. But I do feel like because Level Up exists right now, my importance is actually not as big as it used to be in terms of local scene. Like I think that it's cool to have extra tournaments, and it's cool to have a place to meet up, and it's cool to just I guess see me. I don't know, but it's like because Level Up does exist and there are a lot of hungry players. I think the scene is actually going to be okay, even if I left. But we've also got a lot of driven like people who are willing to step up but may not have the time to right now. For example, like our Dust Loop god Shotokan. If he gave up like working on his house and like maybe coding all the stuff for Dust Loop or like doing wiki crap all the time, he would probably have time to run tournaments and practice. And I guess, yeah, I remember a guy man really, really wanted to be like me. So he was like, yeah, I'll do all the tournaments and stuff for you when you leave. And I'm like, that's cool. But then now he has a job. So who knows if that's going to happen anymore. But either way, I do feel like people are hungry enough and they care enough about the game to keep playing. And that's the thing. That's like key ingredient number one. And key ingredient number two is like, someone to like be the glue to hold everyone together kind of thing. But you got to have number one as well as number two. But because Level Up exists, I think that my role, essentially may even get phased out at some point.
Okay,
So-
and then one last question from the stream for you, Shay, if you're ready for it.
Okay.
Are you afraid that when you pop your collar, you are in fact too handsome? Or do you think that there's no such thing as you being too handsome?
When I pop my collar, it's actually in respect for Seto Kaiba and his glorious amounts of money. But
What?
in general, yeah. I don't remember why I said that. Anyways, so I do feel like being handsome is something that is like everyone's judgment of you, So you need to really take people's opinion of you and like hold it really dearly, because that's like a really strong like method of praise. So I guess that like I'm really thankful for people who think I'm handsome and things like that. So sometimes like, but I don't want to like feel myself, so I gotta like pepper them with like the hot moves and stuff. I'm working on a new move where I do like a slight spin and like pull my right collar up like diagonally, and I'm working on that right now. That's in the works.
Then,
That's how I got tendonitis to begin with, actually.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay, I had to make sure. Hang on. But to continue on that question, Lord Knight, why do you wear aviator shades? Is that really?
My power up.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, you're so quiet.
No, the real reason is it's like, how people wear headphones to block out noise
Yeah.
or whatever. So because I lost them. I need to buy a new pair, but those were real ones. They're like real Ray-Bans. They had weight to them, so I would never say space out or zone out while I'm playing, which would be a problem occasionally after really, really long days of like long tournaments, say an Evo or something. I noticed in Evo 2010, towards the end of my pool, I was starting to zone out either because I was tired or I've been playing too much, and
You
that
actually
was
seemed tired of that tournament.
that just was the answer. At Evo 2012, I not 2012, 2011. I thought I was fine, and then I just kept wearing the aviators.
That's actually
So
really
the aviators actually help you Ben had tournament wins.
That's just a bonus.
Damn it.
Okay.
Bonus.
I didn't understand what Dasabro said at first. I was like, I wonder what he said. I was like, he Ben?
Yeah, he Ben had tournament wins.
Yeah, I remember now, but it's okay.
It's been a while.
All right, and then let's see here. We should probably start winding down a little bit. We're heading toward that 90-minute mark. So actually, we should probably start talking about either recent events or upcoming ones. James, I know that you wanted to plug your Chevolution event, so
Yeah, so it's yeah, I'm gonna like NEC is a big deal. So and I do feel like there's not a whole lot of West Coast East Coast play these days. Like I think that in terms of anime, like it's only really been big when Evo was like the main event for everyone. People actually showed up to that, and before that, like it was pretty much non-existent, and except for Melty, where some of us would travel out. But I do feel like a lot of that's really tapered off in the last few years, especially with BlazBlue. And East Coast also doesn't travel too much either. So I do feel like I really want to take that extra step and like send a lot of people out to NEC this year. Of course, there is like the Japanese players coming, so that's like an extra bonus. But in general, I actually wanted to do the NEC qualifier before even like Stickbug was doing his godlike thing with inviting Japanese players over and stuff. But either way, Chevolution is just an NEC qualifier in SoCal. If you are from pretty much anywhere, I mean, if you're from East Coast, you can come and play in Chevolution, and I will send you to NEC via plane ticket if that is really your thing. But in general, you will just come here. You can play in this tournament. If you win, I will buy you a plane ticket to East Coast. And that's pretty much it. And I guess like I don't think I'll be able to afford room as well, because that's also a lot of money. But I think that like I'm gonna go myself, and so if that's like you can just room with me kind of thing. It's kind of a ghetto solution, but I'm not made out of money, people, or something like that. Anyway, so I know a lot of SoCal players are giving up for that. I'm doing it for both BlazBlue and for P4A, because partially to match up with Stickbug is inviting also a BB player over, and BB is still one of my favorite games. It's one of the games that I really like playing, so I do want to show some support for it. And even if we get 12 entrants and I end up eating the cost on that, but either way, it'll be a fun event. So Chevolution is coming up 10/20. So if you're a stream monster or you live like really, really far away, it'll be fun to watch. I'm actually in talks with Mike Watson to see if I can bring a fog machine. And so far, the response has been pretty negative. However, I want to make it happen. So yeah, fog machine. 2012.
All right. What stream will it be on, and why a fog machine?
Okay, so it'll be on my stream this time around. I didn't want to... Like Level Up has done a lot of Persona stuff already, and in general, I really value their like what they've contributed to the scene. But it's just for me, it's like an extra step, and I'm really really lazy. So when it comes down to actually running the tournament logistics, I'm okay with it. But dealing with the middlemen sometimes is just really annoying, especially when I'm not going to be doing anything else there. Because by the way, I can't enter. So if you're afraid of me gatekeeping you, that's not going to happen. So I'll just be there to run the tournament, do the stream. So like having me sit around just doing nothing, I would just feel stupid. So that's part of the main reason why I didn't really like come out and go, yeah, level up, come help us, please, 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 kind of thing. Like I really love it if they would do it for us, and I would really be like, yeah, that's fucking awesome, kind of thing. But it's just one thing that like I feel like I can do the work, so I'm doing it. So it is on my stream XIEI at twitch.tv. So check us out. Why a fog machine now? Really, the question is why not a fog machine? Because, like, in general, like the theatrics of Japanese tournaments and such have been way cooler than anything we've done in America so far.
That's true.
Even on bad, well, I guess like not on really bad years like SBO last year, but previous years they always do like the cool intros. People all walk in. There's hot babes everywhere. We're gonna have like none of those, but
Yeah,
I would
Rebel
think
was
it's pretty
amazing.
awesome if we had a fog machine.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think that we're getting closer though. Like Evo last year had a really cool projector setup. That was really cool. I know people have been doing more clever things, like having wrestling rings and like cool things like that these days. So it's getting there. So, but I think nothing beats fog machine.
CEO
Such a
has the
simple answer
greatest
too.
of all time.
Oh yeah.
all time.
That's cool.
With the wrestling ring and like all of the players hamming it up. Like Mike Ross came into the ring flexing. It was the greatest thing of all time.
That is a really cool idea, actually, and I want like expanding on the idea. I think that Marvel tournaments should be held in a moon bounce.
I respect that.
So I think that would be a high level, really high level tournament will take place there.
All right. So the other thing would be to pay unfortunate broadcast rights to get to actually play music. But anyway, Lord Knight, do you have any events coming up that you'd like to plug? Like say NEC?
Of course, NEC. NEC. Everyone should come to NEC. That's going to be a great tournament. If you didn't go to Seasons Meetings, you effed up. And if you are in the tri-state area, you should go to Big E's Bar Fights in November, because bar fights are always fun. And they're having Persona.
Okay.
NEC, if you want to see the truth about Japan, you need to go to NEC. None of their top players have videos, and they are actually ridiculous at Persona. We all know how good they are at BlazBlue. We get to see them all the time, but they are ridiculous at Persona.
For the viewers who don't know what NEC is, can you explain a little bit about the history, if you know anything about that?
Oh, well, NEC is a really long-running tournament in Philadelphia, run by Big E. It's hosted pretty much the biggest Melty tournament since NEC 7. Of course, they had Third Strike and whatever, all those other games. And usually Big E, what's unique about his events is that he gets to either run the first major or the first major on East Coast for a new game. And also a lot of West Coast players go to it regardless of it being whether you're playing an anime game or not. So if there's someone you want to play, you probably want to go to it. Also, it's pretty cheap to go to Philadelphia.
It depends, man. But yeah, I've actually been 3 out of the last 4 years, I believe, and I can vouch that it's a good event. It's been getting bigger and bigger every year too, like for pretty much most games across the board. So no matter what tournament you have in mind, like NEC is always a good choice, and you'll see a lot of people from not only East Coast but also maybe from more like you'll also see people from Canada, which is also nice. So yeah, a lot of interesting personalities to be met there. So I can definitely vouch for how good NEC is. I mean, it's the whole reason why we're gonna throw a qualifier, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it.
All right, and then over here on the West Coast, well, and by West Coast I mean the Northern California section of the West Coast. Given that Shay just talked about SoCal, we do have NCI coming up this Saturday, and we're going to have a fog machine, guys.
Okay,
Oh, man.
I'll invest in it.
I
And
copyrighted
spike
that
James
idea
Shea.
already. You can't take it.
What? Show me
If you
proof.
use it, you have to call it a sham machine.
Okay.
Shame
A
machine.
shame machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh my god.
But anyway, who knows? Maybe some crazy ass guy who's spent the last 3 days in New York will go. You know what? And on top of that, I'm buying whoever's number one in NCI a ticket to NEC because that's just the kind of guy I am. Along with the fog machine, you also get the fog machine.
Oh, this guy is out of his mind. You
Not that I'm
didn't use
saying
the
that
correct
that's
term.
absurd, but I'm a little out of my mind because I have been drinking an entire bottle of plum wine this entire time.
But did you mean a Shea machine? I heard some kind of
Oh,
machine. I didn't know which one it was.
Shea machine. Let's see. We had NorCal Dogfight recently. It's
Mhm.
going to be happening again in a couple weeks.
All right.
A lot of people actually are still coming up for that, aren't they? Silence.
Right, dogfight?
What?
What?
Never.
Never mind.
Oh. Actually, one last question. SKD just went in chat and is saying that he's sorry for killing Persona.
Oh, whoa.
What
Yeah.
do you guys say?
Oh my god.
What do you guys recommend that we say to people who claim that Persona 4 is dead?
I
Look
killed
at the
Persona.
entries. It doesn't make any sense. Like
Well-
at major tournaments, Jabali just told me he had 50 at his last tournament. Pacific Northwest pulled like 25, 30. NorCal's pulling like 25, 30 at big events. I think mostly it's like an illusion created by saturation, where there's so many tournaments, like there's so many locals that locals are losing some turnouts, but it's just because people can't go to all these, or
I
they're
just
like
think there's
separated by
things.
location.
There's just two things. Like these weekday tournaments should not even count. Like these, like here we have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday tournament. So with people at school and work and things like that, you can't really be like, oh, only 4 people came out Tuesday afternoon, dead. Like you can't really say something like
That
that.
happens all the time. Like in SoCal too. Like we have like when on opening month we would have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday tournament, Saturday, Sunday tournament, and then like some of them would get nobody. So it's like, oh, this game must be dead now. But in reality, like you can only really go to so many events, you know.
Yeah.
Like I showed up on like Sunday night randomly at like 5 p.m. to some tournament. And I was like, we were like the only guys there, and I was like, well, we should have thought about this better. Thinking about it now.
And of
But-
course, SKD forgot to put Kappa, standard stream monster.
Meanwhile, in DJ Hoshan would like to note that Persona 4 was third most popular game at Seasons Beatings Ascension last week, which was just behind what Marvel and AE are probably the top 2.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most likely.
Okay.
Well,
do you
in
wanna
reality-
It's just for a lot
Yeah,
of
go
people,
ahead.
it's just become a very popular joke. But there are people who believe it.
and I do want to say that at Super NorCal Install, we had 50 plus people. It's a pretty huge bracket for at least our cause here. So yeah. What were you gonna say? Was it James?
Nothing really. I was just gonna say something stupid.
No, say it anyway.
I forgot it already. That's why it's stupid.
I think it was the Tokido thing. The Tokido article.
the
what started
Torpedo
the
article
mess.
is pretty good.
Yeah, where he's like, I don't like this game so much. So people are like, oh, dead.
So it's dead.
So it's dead.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. He didn't even say that either. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm playing Street Fighter X Tekken. I'm not really playing much other games anymore." Especially
Yeah.
Persona.
But
That's what he really said. But you know,
the implication of that, that
Oh,
like you
well.
just dropped Persona for Cross Tekken.
honestly, like I'm surprised people read in between the lines like that when they don't do it at all most of the time. But
It's
whatever.
just because Tokido's super famous.
Tokido is my hero too, so
Mhm.
I don't know what else I can say about that. Tokido is pretty interesting to me because when I see him, I always think like I've met him way before I knew who he was, and I don't know where. So there's some kind of weird like deja vu crap going on there. Same thing with another player, Tsujikawa. I think I've met him before I knew him, but I obviously didn't. What a horrible life.
Okay. Males
All
in
right.
past life.
And so we're going to probably wrap this up. We have a few questions that we'll save for later podcasts, but thank you very much, James. Thank you very much, LK. Let's get some closing thoughts from you guys. So either just saying goodbye to the viewers and thanks, or maybe just directing people to self-promotion. So James?
Me first? Okay. Well, I don't really have anything else to say. If you follow me on Twitter, I say a lot of stupid stuff. Sometimes I say things that are kind of smart. But in general, I really am a strong proponent of playing what you like and ignoring people you don't like. So I would do both of those things at the same time a lot of the time. So if you like Persona, play Persona. If you start to hate it, stop playing it. It's okay. Like we have players who've given it up. Like they just realize, well, I don't really like this game. I'm gonna go back to KOF. Whatever, more power to you. I'm not gonna be like, well, KOF sucks. It's dead. But yeah, play what you like. Enjoy what you like. Try to ignore people whose opinion you don't really care much for anyway. Like if you're walking down the street and people are like, yo, you have shitty shoes, and then you're gonna go home and be sad about it. You shouldn't do that. Like that's exactly the same thing a YouTube comment is. So you should probably just play the games you like. That's probably it.
Okay. LK?
Please follow me on Twitter. I want 1,000 Twitter PSR. Thank you.
What about your stream?
Oh, I have a stream that I stream occasionally. Occasionally. I should stream when I go home, actually. I should stream after this, maybe.
What do you stream? We're gonna
Oh.
spoon feed you these views.
There we go.
What do I stream? I stream myself, and then I play music in the background, and occasionally I play a YouTube video with Persona, and sometimes my audio gets really shitty, so I stop.
Oh, you gotta update your XSplit, probably.
I probably do. But more importantly, I need 1,000 Twitter PSR, so please follow me.
We should race. I'm at like 940, I think.
Okay.
I'm at 950. I need to beat Shia. This is East
Okay.
Coast versus West Coast, so...
Okay, so please follow me so I
East
can
Coast
defeat
versus
that.
West
So we can
Twitter,
defeat the
like,
hateful East
Eastern.
Coast.
Okay.
If you want to know my stream name, I'm pretty sure it's just Lord Knight, like twitch.tv/Lord Knight. But more importantly, follow Lord Knight BB, because I definitely need to beat West Coast. James Shia does not have a pretty smile.
You know what?
Well, hold on. You could
Hang
say a
on.
lot of things.
But
There's
that-
some unfollows coming right now from the East Coast.
It just
So,
got
yeah.
real.
Okay,
That's my
loser.
message.
All right, loser in this PSI race has to. What do we have to do? I know Bro knows a lot of embarrassing stuff. Come on.
Oh, how about a powder slap?
What?
Oh, actually, you know what?
What?
Loser at NEC gets salt poured on them.
There we go.
No, not that again.
That's
That
on you
shit
before.
sucks, man.
Okay, then what can you do?
Like,
If not salt, what's left?
yeah, you're probably right. Let's just go with salt. I'll just take it. I mean, like, the one time I got
You're not
salt
gonna
poured
lose
on
anyway,
me,
right,
I had an
James?
afro, right? Bad times. Like, LK has a natural advantage.
Like,
With
I
actual,
just got a haircut, so my hair should be long again by NEC. So if salt was poured in my hair, then it would look like dandruff. It would be really bad, actually.
Okay, but it has to be done on stream, right?
What?
It has to be done on stream, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or maybe, like, the moment someone hits 1,000, the other person has to stream themselves getting salt poured on them. And a lot. It has to be a lot.
Okay.
That's really hard. I'll do it at NEC.
That does sound amazing, though.
Okay.
Alright,
In the
that's
event
the
that it
plan.
happens, you guys must stream this.
Yeah.
Okay, will do.
And you have to
Alright.
screenshot immediately and send it to me so I can promote it, okay?
Alright, sweet. I just got 3 followers. Good shit, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Damn, I don't think I got any. I'm gonna lose here, man.
Well, that's really unfortunate. But thank you both for coming. This was a great podcast. Thanks to you guys. Thanks a lot for all your words.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Alright, take it easy, guys.
Bye.
And since I'm the only one left here, I suppose I'll be promoting the very last few things that we have on Finest Scale. I want to announce that later today at 9 p.m. PST, we're having a general stream with the Spirit Juice. You can follow him at the Spirit Juice. It's every Monday at 9 p.m. PST. And don't forget, the One More podcast featuring Persona 4 Arena discussions and fighting game community discussions as well is every Monday at 6:30 p.m. PST. Every Tuesdays and Wednesday, time varies. We have Pokemon and miscellaneous streams, including Magic Tricks. There we go, Magic Tricks with Shui. And this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. PST, we're having NorCal Install, which features Persona 4 Arena, Aquapaza, King of Fighters 13, and more. It might so happen that we'll have a secret game that isn't on this flyer, I swear. And that said, you can also follow us here at twitch.tv/finestko. If you enjoyed the podcast, if you enjoy fighting games, you could follow us at finestko. If you don't enjoy that kind of stuff, we cover other games as well. Idolmaster, God Hand, Bayonetta. I'm just naming things off the top of my head. Let's see. Valkyrie Chronicles, Xenosaga, and more. You know, we cover everything. Pretty much everything now on finestko. Twitter.com/finestko and Facebook.com/finestko for updates on when the stream happens and when events happen in the future. So you guys can take it easy, and that's my desktop. See you later.